We're talking about going to phase 4 on Monday in New York City. Phase 4 is the final opening phase. I am going to limit it. If we do it, only outdoor activities, which means malls don't open and cultural institutions can open, but only outdoor, no indoor activities. And we also have some regulations for bars and restaurants. We allowed outdoor dining. What you're seeing in New York City is these outdoor block parties. They're just distributing, selling alcohol, and you have large congregations. That's not what we anticipated. So we have to be careful about that, and we're going to have additional regulations on that.
More regulations, more dictates from the governor's office. Coming soon to a state near you, my friends. You already have. You have a mask mandate in Texas. I got to say, for all the love for Texas that I've got, it doesn't feel like it's quite the don't mess with Texas, we love freedom state that we had all gotten used to here. All right? Let's keep it real. Mask mandate now. Other states as well going through mask mandates. So here's the problem with what Governor Cuomo is saying. He's telling you that we're going into phase 4. And you have to see this, my friends. New York is at the sort of, it was the worst hit place, but we got hit the hardest, the fastest. So now we are in a state of relative normalcy from the perspective of COVID, right? There's very few cases, very few deaths. And we are supposed to now reopen based on the metrics they set forth, but we're not reopening. And this is completely arbitrary. They set out guidance, and then they change what they're going to do. They set out, they said, here are the numbers that we need to let you have your lives back. And Governor Cuomo is out there saying, you got to get to this number and this number, and, the people here, the people there, the people everywhere. You got to do this and that and the other thing. You got to get down to 25% of hospital beds. Why do I need 25%? Because that's what my health experts told me. So why are we going to allow outdoor dining if people got to have a block party? You can't have a block party. Don't allow outdoor dining anymore unless people are sitting down. You cannot order alcohol. This is a real rule. You cannot order alcohol unless you're also eating. So what does that mean? So this has meant that we have another thing here called Cuomo chips. What is a Cuomo chip? A Cuomo chip is a way that bars and restaurants are getting around the new alcohol regulation. That's right, folks. They're selling $1 orders of potato chips to give you those, so they're complying with the regulation. The market trying to work around the regulations. Look at that. You got to make sure people have their Cuomo chips. Stunning stuff, isn't it? And this is what we're all subjected to. Producer Mark, have you had Cuomo chips yet?
No, it sounds like a lot like a Schrootbuck.
What's a Schrootbuck?
From The Office.
Oh, Dwight Schrootbucks?
Yeah. Remember when he became manager for a day and started handing out Schrootbucks?
Yes, now I do recall, actually. That's a good thing. So, yeah, man, I just, someone has to explain to me why we even have reopening phases if the phases are not really the phases. What we really have is politicians who just get to determine what you can do. Does your business open? Does your business live or die? Your life's work? Well, it's up to what Cuomo feels like today. Maybe we got to shut you down again. Well, hold on a second. The virus is at a super low level. Shouldn't we go back to normal life? No. The virus is other places. You got to be shut down. What are the limits on this power? Does anyone even ask the question? What are the limits on this power? When is this too much? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I mean, I want the DOJ to sue the you-know-what out of these different states that are mandating all this stuff. I mean, you got to drag them into court. Got to get them to stop doing this. And these decisions are so arbitrary. What are they even basing this on? Why, if masks are so effective, why can't we just wear masks at indoor malls then? Right? It's fine. Masks work. Do they work? Oh, we're not sure. but wear them anyway. Oh, Buck, but they don't work perfectly, but they work pretty well. How well? Should everybody wear a mask across the country if it's a reduction of 1% in transmission ratio? Is that the new rule? And if we're going to start to have that extreme version of disease mitigation, why don't we also have it during the... They always dismiss the comparisons to the flu season as if that's not a serious argument. I think it's an entirely serious argument. People die. It's every year. It spreads all over the place. And yeah, we could shut down to stop that. I don't want to give them any ideas. We could shut down so that wouldn't happen again. But they don't. They don't do it. They don't do it. Instead, we got Cuomo chips. The thing about the Cuomo chips is you want to make sure that you get the good flavors. Some of you, when you order your Cuomo chips, you'll probably go with barbecue. Or perhaps, if you're truly a person of terrible taste, go with Chipotle flavor. Potato chips only come in a few worthwhile flavors. Producer Mark, you can have, of course, traditional potato chip. Perfect, delicious, we love it. You can have sea salt and vinegar if you're fancy. If you're a fancy type and you want to go fancy potato chip, you go sea salt vinegar. And if you're really feeling a little indulgent, you've been spending a lot of time on the couch, you want to make sure you're doing the maximum, you can go sour cream and onion. That's it. That's where I'm leaving it. Am I leaving anything out, Producer Mark?
I was going to ask Governor Cuomo if I could have sour cream and onion. That's my favorite.
Oh, of course. Oh, come on. Sour cream and onion is amazing.
Yeah, that's the best potato chip.
Sour cream and onion is the most meal-like of the potato chip flavors. Like, you eat enough sour cream and onion potato chips, you start to feel like, it's like you put away a baked potato almost, with all the chives and the whole thing.
Have you ever had ketchup chips?
I've never even heard of ketchup chips. That's a thing?
Yes. I really want to try it, but I haven't seen it anywhere.
I'm a chip guy. I do like those. I like sweet potato chips too. I gotta say, they got a nice little flavor.
They're amazing. Sweet potato fries, sometimes, if done right, can be better than regular French fries.
I agree with you on that. I think that sometimes they're also they're a little too soggy. That's the risk with the sweet potato. People make them so soggy. I don't know why.
Well. Yeah.
Gotta have the potatoes crisp on the French fries. I had a French food earlier this week. Snow Princess and I went out to dinner. I had a French food, and I got the French fries were completely excessive. There's another 1,000 calories I did not need to add into that meal, but they were worth it. I don't even care. They were fantastic. But this then reminds me of what I had to tell Producer Mark before, which is I finally got my set of kettlebells. I'm going to start doing some strength training again, because I feel like the gym is never going to open. The gym is never going to open. We got morons like Cuomo in charge. You're never going to, think about it. You could set it up so that gyms have a staggered schedule. So you get open all the windows, open all the doors. I'm talking about especially private gyms and buildings, which is very common in housing complexes in New York now. Open everything up and have one or two people in the gym at a time. And you get 1 hour in the gym, 2 people. At least you could get in the gym sometime. But no, they never want to open up gyms. That's the last thing. And it's driving me nuts. But I got my kettlebells, and they're in a cardboard box, and it's pretty classic because when I went to pick up my kettlebells that were still in their packaging that they had been shipped to me in, I managed to hurt my back. That's how weak I've gotten in the last 4 or 5 months.
I mean, to be fair, you had to have known it was a heavy box.
Oh no, I know, but my body has had no real training of any strength of any kind for.
Fair.
I mean, I was getting up to a personal record in the deadlift in late January. And that's all gone. Deadlifting, gone. I mean, I'm going to have to be one of these people that's deadlifting just with like the little plastic tube, that you practice with. I got to go back to doing that.
No.
Just so my body gets used to the motion. So, I went from actually throwing some decent weight around for a young lad to, now, man, I hurt my back accepting my workout equipment from the package room. That's how it went. Sad, really.
I can attest that I also injure myself around the house. I don't work out anymore. I was getting really strong, just like you were before the wedding. I was working with my friend, the personal
you look
trainer.
Good at the wedding. You were doing some healthy living before the wedding. I saw. I saw. And
all downhill now.
In the quarantine 15, I pick up Tallulah, who is just a little chub. I mean, she's beautiful. I love her. But, she weighs in at like a solid 30 plus pounds now. And she likes to she's a little spoiled. So whenever she wants to get up on a couch or a chair or a bed or whatever, she makes a little noise and I have to lift her up. And if I don't, she'll just keep making the noise. So she goes, she doesn't bark. She does that. She kind of does this weird yodel thing. And I'm telling you, I used to be able to like one-handed lift up that furry little chub and it was fine. And now I got to bend at the hips and get the quads engaged and just, the whole thing. It's not good.
That could be good exercise. Just lift the dog up and down.
Yeah,
she'd probably like it too.
That's the most exercise I get these days. I prefer when she just lies on my belly and takes a nap, though. But yeah, that's the best. But nonetheless, this is where we're at, folks. Not allowed to go to gyms, not allowed to live our lives because people are terrified because Democrats want to be back in power. I mean, I'm starting to feel like a lot of people are just going to want to vote for Democrats just so they stop taking our lives hostage. Just so they let us have our lives like. Oh, we can handle a Biden presidency if you just give us our lives back. I worry that becomes the mentality. I really think that's going to be a thing. I think it's going to be a thing. Not a good thing, but a thing.
It's time for roll call.
All right, everybody. Facebook.com/Buck Sexton or Team Buck at iHeartMedia.com. If you also please get a chance, go to BuckSexton.com. I'm going to be doing an editorial that'll go up later today, hopefully. If latest, probably tomorrow. And also look out for the Buck Brief, which will be up on your Facebook feed. And the best thing you can do for me on that one is share the Buck Brief to your page. It's like a 4-minute version of this whole show. That's how we roll. That's how we do it. And with that, well, before I get to the roll call stuff, Producer Mark, what are your weekend plans, sir? What do you got going on?
Nothing.
But it's going to be like 90 degrees.
Yeah, where am I going to go?
Mm.
Everyone else is going to go to the beach. I don't want to go to the beach.
I mean, the beach is going to be crowded. How far is the Jersey Shore from where you are?
We're about an hour.
That's not terrible.
Not terrible. I would make a drive, but I know they're limiting the amount of people on the beach and all that stuff.
Oh, they are?
So...
See, you're under, it's funny. We're not far from each other as the crow flies, but you're under Jersey rules. I'm under New York rules, and it's different.
I mean, I think beaches pretty much everywhere are doing that. I know they're doing that on Long Island as well. So I don't want to risk, either I have to get up at 6 a.m. and drive down, or I risk going at a normal time and then not being able to go on the beach.
It's like no fun is allowed. That's really, this virus means that people are allowed to say, you're just not allowed to have fun. Yeah. That's where you're not allowed to enjoy yourself. This is the anti-joy lockdown, that's for sure. Anything that's fun is not allowed to do it. Anyway, there we go. Well, I'm planning to do, I don't know, probably rest my back. I'm going to order some Chinese food and watch some Netflix and hang out with Tallulah and Snow Princess, and that's kind of what I got. So there we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, except without the dog.
Yeah, good call. All right, Michael writes in, hello, Buck and Producer Mark. Caught your podcast with the need for new buzzwords for the right and left and had 2 in mind. For all the lefty organizations, I will now call them my favorite word from the 60s, pinkos. It has a soft and mushy connotation, and us Gen Xers and older should still remember that all that it refers to. Deliver it with a smirk and say pinkos enough times, and they should hopefully lose their confidence. For real right-wingers, let's call ourselves eagles. What other American icon can hunt, scrounge, have solid families, soar, and come back from almost certain extinction while looking amazing, doing anything, shields high? There's a lot of creativity and thought put into this, to be sure. Pinko, I prefer commie, but pinko that's another way of saying the same thing, I suppose. And the problem with calling ourselves eagles is that for Producer Mark, that conjures up his hated football team.
Yes, can't do that.
So we
don't want to be associated with filth.
That's our only problem with that. As much as I may love bald eagles. They're amazing. You ever seen one, Producer Mark, actually, in the wild?
In person? No, I have not.
Oh, they've made a big comeback. They're in a lot more places across the country than they used to be, so you can see them. I think there are some in New York State now too. You do have bald eagles up north, I believe. Doug Doug writes, hello, Buck. We've watched the Waco, Ruby Ridge, Unabomber, Epstein, Roger Stone, and Richard Jewell documentaries, some on your advice, and have lived through Crossfire Hurricane and the Mueller sagas. Now, why is it, again, the FBI is held in such high esteem? Doug, the FBI has made some very big mistakes, and there's no getting around that. The FBI has made some very big mistakes. I have seen the Epstein and Waco documentaries. I've not seen Richard Jewell, the movie. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
I actually kind of want to watch that. I hear it's quite good. So I will check that out. Movies that I've watched recently that I'd never seen before. I watched The Firm with my little sister, which is kind of long, but it's a very good movie for what it is. You know that one? 90s film?
No.
You
go over my head with these movies.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I know you were an infant when this stuff was happening. So The Firm is good, and then there's also I saw Glengarry Glen Ross, which I had never seen before, which is a classic. It's pretty good. It drags a little bit, but it's pretty good for what it is. Everyone just remembers the opening scene or the opening sequence pretty much where Alec Baldwin comes in and he's like, you know what you need to sell real estate? And he holds up two brass objects that are spherical. That's, I think, all I can say on the radio. So, yeah, that's what I would say from Glengarry Glen Ross. I'm trying to think of a good movie to watch this weekend. The Formula One documentary on Netflix. Producer Mark, have you seen that?
I didn't know there was one.
It's not it's a series. It's not even a documentary. It's a series. F1, I'm not even a car guy. It's amazing.
Do they drive left a lot?
No. Formula One is way different than NASCAR.
What, do they make a couple right turns?
Wow, look at you. The NASCAR watchers in our audience are very upset with Salty Mark right now.
That's all right.
Yeah, you're not a NASCAR fan, or apparently a racing fan of any kind. It's better than bicycle racing.
I feel like it would be cool to do. If I could drive the car, that'd be cool. But what am I watching it for?
Yeah, going 200 miles an hour would be pretty interesting. 200 miles an hour is fast. So there's that. All right, roll call continues. We got a late addition into our movie watching for the weekend. A suggestion from producer Nick, Burn After Reading by the Coen brothers. He says, I'll like it. Producer Mark, are the Coen brothers the guys who did The Big Lebowski?
They did. They've also done some other stuff. No Country for Old Men was them. Fargo was them. They have a bunch of big movies.
Interesting. I might be down to check out. That's a Clooney film, right? Yeah, I might be, or is it Brad Pitt, or maybe it's both. It is
Clooney and Malkovich, Francis McDormand.
The Big
Brad
Lebowski.
Pitt's in it as well. You're right. Brad Pitt's there.
Yeah, there we go. The Big Lebowski is one of those films where I liked it. Clooney, Pitt, and Malkovich all in Burn After Reading. I like The Big Lebowski the more I saw it, actually. I saw it the first time I was like, this movie's weird. And then I saw it again, and then I saw it again, and I thought it was really good the more I saw it. I appreciated aspects of it more when I saw it again, which I find is very rare. Whereas there are other movies that I go back and watch, and I'm just like, I cannot believe I liked this movie when I saw it. And producer Nick says his favorite of all time is Lebowski, so that makes sense. I will say that in the past, in my dating life, I found it to be a red flag when people, when girls, women, I should say, young women, tell me that their favorite movie is the Wes Anderson stuff. I find that doesn't work out well for me. when women tell me their favorite movie is the Royal Tenenbaums, I don't know. I'm just saying it hasn't worked out in the past. It hasn't worked out in the past. So
I don't even know what that is.
The Royal Tenenbaums?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
never heard.
Wes Anderson is a filmmaker for people who really like pretentious garbage. Just say it. If you like pretentious garbage, Wes Anderson is your guy. I'm trying to think of who. I'll give you a quick listing of some of the Wes Anderson films. So I know that he's done Royal Tenenbaums. He's also done Moonrise Kingdom, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Some of those are somewhat watchable, but overall, like I said, Wes Anderson movies I find pretentious, so not a fan. Then again, everyone hates me because I think that Tarantino is the most overrated person since Bruce Springsteen, who's the most overrated person since John Lennon, who's I go back in time. So
Lennon, really? Oh my! What do you like?
I want more angry messages in our inbox for roll call.
Like, are you the one person in the world that doesn't like the Beatles?
The Beatles, it's hit and miss for me. It's hit and miss for me. There's some things that I like and some things that I don't. Wait, hold on a second. The Royal Tenenbaums, am I giving the wrong? That can't be. No, it's is it Wes Anderson? Yes, Wes Anderson. Yeah, terrible. As I thought. All right, back into roll call, sir. I got but I digress. I got back into it here. All right. Doug already, we talked to Doug. Brian, hey, Buck, I appreciate the shout out to truckers today. I love the show. Great company on the road. Both you and producer Mark. Shields high, brothers. Brian, we are honored to keep you company as you keep America supplied and fed by staying on the roads. Stay safe, my man. Shields high. Thank you so much for writing in. We appreciate it. I remember someone explained once what the special horn is that when I was a kid I used to ask the truckers to pull down, but that was always
the air
fun.
horn.
Yeah, the air horn. That was always a fun one. Paige, greetings from the sane part of California. Devin Nunes is my representative. The school district my daughters attend voted last night to hold in-person class 5 days a week when school begins in August. It should be noted their teachers, although it's a public school, are non-union and the students outperform all surrounding districts in every area and are one of the top districts in the country. The neighboring district ranks at the bottom second or third in the nation, and their teachers' union is making demands and basically claiming it's not safe to return in the fall. Do you think we will ever be able to get rid of these public sector unions that cause so much damage to budgets and now kids? Thank you so much for all that you and Mark do. I look forward to listening to your podcast every day. Paige, thank you for writing in. We really appreciate it. Glad you're able to find a sane and red, or at least reddish, part of California to live in. And as for getting rid of teachers' unions, I cannot tell a lie. No, you will not get rid of teachers' unions. It's not going to happen. Too much power, too much sway, and they're deeply, deeply entrenched in our politics. Because they'll put these union reps on TV and just go, it's just about the children. We just want to protect and educate the children. Teachers just want to teach. It's like this endless propaganda campaign of all teachers are great. Anyone who has a problem with teachers is horrible. Yada yada. Not good. So yeah, Paige, I don't think you're going to get rid of them anytime soon. I wish I could say otherwise, but I speak the truth to you. But I'm happy to hear that your school district is going to be up and running. But I wouldn't be surprised if the governor in California tried some kind of an executive order. I know they're in some states shutting down private schools too. So even if it's a private institution that wants to be operating, they're saying, no, you're not allowed to open your school. Not allowed. Imagine that. Imagine what would happen. You're going to see more of this too. If the public schools were closed, but private schools, parochial schools, religious schools opened up in the same county, the same district, and it turns out that there was no big spike in cases in those schools. Meanwhile, the public schools expect their teachers to get paid, all the budgets to be met, to do Zoom learning or whatever. Folks do not want, the people that are advocating for the most extreme measures do not want there to be any control group. They don't want there to be any, that's the only kind of control they don't want, is a control group. They don't want there to be any way to test out the thesis that they're making us all react to and respond to. They don't want to be proven wrong, essentially. They don't want there to be a possibility that we'll see that what they've been telling us is not true. Kyle, Hey, Buck, no doubt you've seen the media bias chart occasionally show up in your social feed, posted by fans of the fully objective and not at all biased CNN crowd. My question for you is this: how can us conservatives deconstruct and point out any folly when responding to this nonsense? I'm assuming this chart doesn't account for the leftists continually normalizing things that were out of bounds mere years ago, while labeling conservative media the extremists for not progressing along with them. I'd love to hear how you would discredit this chart and how to communicate that to others. I don't think I have seen the specific, Kyle, the specific media bias chart that you're referring to. So I gotta find that. But remember this, the central premise of the media libs is that they're not biased. They're just on the side of truth. They don't see that distinction. This is the common refrain among journalists, that even in being anti-Trump, criticizing him, they'll say, well, we have to criticize him because of his lies. That is being a journalist. And then you say, well, what about other politicians' lies? And then it does not compute, and they shriek and shout and yell at you and everything else. So there you have it. Yeah, I would say that's the case. I don't know about this specific chart, though. I would have to check that out. I'd have to find it. Gina. Hi, Buck. So Colorado Democrat governor just declared Colorado a mandatory mask state. No local variances. His words. I assume that means local jurisdictions can't decide to override this executive order. Serious question. How is this constitutional? We have many counties here that are 100% behind constitutional freedoms. Many local governments have opened up business well before our mighty king in residence has approved. If he can do this, how soon before his executive order takes away our Second Amendment? Very disturbing, but we knew it all along. Shields very high, Buck. Gina, fantastic question and message, and you're right. I've been asking the same question before you even wrote in. What are the limits to this new authority? How is this constitutional? How could anyone accept this and think that's a good idea? And yeah, what if they want to take your guns away under a public health emergency because of gun violence? You'd say, but guns are not oh, nope. They're going to say people are dying. It's a thing. Got to override your rights. Rights still matter even during a pandemic. This is the point of the conservative response that I don't think we're hearing loudly enough and from enough people. Rights do not go away just because some people are scared. It's not how this works. That's not how we operate. I wish there was more understanding of this. I'm trying, folks. I'm trying. All right, more roll call before we all go off to our weekends. My friends, want to make sure we get in your voices here and we get to hear from all of you. Let's get to Justin, who writes, good day. Wait, no, actually, I skipped Andy. I'm sorry. Pardon me. Justin, we'll get to you, I promise. Andy. Hey, Buck and producer Mark. So about 3 weeks ago, you said about this riot, there will be an act of violence that will just go way too far. The media will claim it's not part of the BLM group, and the mayors will have to make a decision. Well, I'm wondering if people beating the police with pipes at a peace march is going too far. To add insult to injury, the person was let out with no bail. I've heard you and others say it. How and why the hell are police still patrolling in these cities? I would put in my retirement papers and work private security. When your mayor hates you, your life is miserable. Shields high. Yes, Andy, I was thinking more along the lines of an act of violence, unfortunately, that would be fatal. Will there be fatalities? But certainly the violence has gotten to the point now where people are seeing, I think they're seeing BLM more for what it really is now, and an understanding that this is not a movement that helps people. This does not make things better. As I've been telling you, BLM is a movement that makes everything worse for everyone. Nothing gets better because of this. This does not improve anything. We need to be very honest about that. So, yeah. Justin. Good day, Freedom Hut. Oh, good day, Justin. Hello, good sir, Mr. Justin. First things first, tennis is not a real sport. And Chipotle is not real Mexican food. Whoa, Justin.
Don't come at my Chipotle.
Yeah, I mean, producer Mark, you try to pull his Chipotle away, you may lose a hand.
I mean, it might not be real Mexican food, but it's delicious. I could eat every meal from Chipotle and be happy.
I had many years ago, this is a true story, I had a roommate, a guy who was a friend of mine, who ate Chipotle, I'm not kidding, every night for dinner. Every single night I lived with this guy, unless we went out to dinner went out to a party or something, he had Chipotle every night. And he actually would not eat the burrito, but he would get a burrito, and then he would unroll the burrito and just eat the inside filling, and that was what he had for dinner.
Why wouldn't he just get a bowl?
I do not. I think he had some theory about it, like, stays more moist if you keep it in the burrito, or I don't know.
You get more food in the bowl.
Dude, I'm just telling you what this guy did, and I lived with him, so I saw this every day.
You can actually
and he might if he heard this radio broadcast, I'm not obviously naming him, he might kill me if he heard me telling you. I told one person in front of him once that this was going on. I thought it was funny. He did not find it funny.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to the show. But
no, he doesn't.
There are people, like my trainer said, you could eat Chipotle every day as long as you get the right stuff.
Really?
Yeah, you get brown rice and you don't get all the extra crap.
Yeah. But the extra crap tastes so good.
I agree with you, but still.
Yeah. And tennis is a real sport, Justin.
No, it's not.
You guys are the worst. Next, where's the Malta podcast? You've been teasing us for a month. Producer Mark, get after Mr. Swoop. We want Malta. P.S. I imagine Mark as Grumpy Cat personified. How accurate is that assessment, Buck? All right, we got a lot to work with here. First of all, I know. I'm derelict on the Malta podcast, but I'm working my butt off. I need all of you to continue to follow me on Instagram, because we're going to start doing Instagram Live videos, including Instagram Live, where we have guest appearances by Tallulah and maybe some other fun folks. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, please do. We're going to be putting a lot more content there. And I also need our podcast to continue to grow, which means I need you to pass the buck. As those things happen, there was more time for me to do things like the Malta podcast, but I agree it needs to happen. Look, I'll do it, and people will like it or they won't like it, and it's fine. You'll still have this show to listen to whenever we release it, but it's going to happen. As for Mark as Grumpy Cat, well, let's ask Mr. Grumpy Cat himself. Are you like a grumpy cat, Mr. Grumpy Cat?
Well, I do not like cats, the animals. I'm not a big fan. But the comparison to Grumpy Cat has been made before.
There you have it, folks.
I have a very great friend group, but they're also a very mean friend group.
Oh, man. Producer Mark, Grumpy Cat. There you have it. He's an honest man, folks.
Though I like the Mr. Swoop nickname.
Mr. Swoop? Yeah.
Well,
Grumpy Cat and Mr. Swoop would be like our after-hours special where we're drinking and like making inappropriate jokes.
It sounds like a comic book title.
Grumpy Cat and Mr. Swoop. We can make that work. Mitch writes, hey, Buck, I love listening to you, Producer Mark. Just want to say, whenever I hear AOC open her mouth, I automatically think I'm back in high school listening to someone campaigning for class president. She sounds so juvenile and ignorant. I'm always expecting the next words out of her mouth to be, there will be no more homework and longer lunches. Keep up the good work, Buck. You are neck and neck with Rush. I never miss either of you. I try to spread the buck to everyone I know here in AZ. Shields high. Mitch, you're the man. Thank you so much. Passing the buck is the most helpful, most wonderful thing you can do for us. So please continue to do that. Remember, iHeart app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We have every day the show going up there, and we have new stuff in store for you, too. Please also do follow me on Instagram. We're going to be putting a lot more political content on Instagram going forward, so get ready for that. And bucksexton.com. Tune in, check it out this weekend. I'll have a story up there. Let's see. Speaking of Instagram, Andrea writes, Buck, my husband's a longtime listener. He got me listening too recently. He's an EOD tech in the Army. He's stationed in Alaska. When he heard you mention EOD tech on your show, he got so excited. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. Tell him thank you for what he did. He's awesome. He's a real badass. I just do radio. But thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. Team, that's going to be the show for today. Remember, bucksexton.com. Follow me at bucksexton on Instagram. We will be back with you Monday, usual time and place. Especially these days, my friends. Shields high.